Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. My name is Lee. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing. I hope everyone had a great Easter. Today I'm going to show y'all how I make this really adorable bee wreath. This is great for spring and summer. These are the supplies I used to make this wreath. I also use a cream colored mesh that I didn't have in the picture. I decided later to add it. I'm going to start by adding pipe cleaners to my 14-inch wire frame. I end up with 6 ties on the inside, 8 on the outside. I tie a pipe cleaner to each crossbar across the 2 middle rings, and I twist 3 times. And then for the outside, I'll just pick a random crossbar to start. Again, twisting 3 times. And then I'll lay the pipe cleaner along the frame, and where that ends is where I'll add my next one. And I'll do this going all the way around, and it should line up just about perfect. If it's off a little bit, there's no reason to be too concerned. But you end up with 14 ties. So I found this really pretty mesh at craftoutlet.com, and I fell in love with it, and I just knew I had to use it for a bee wreath. I'm wanting to make 2 of these wreaths, so I'm only cutting 7 of the black and white mesh, 7 of the white, and then 14 of the yellow. And I'm cutting all of them at 24 inches. And they all measure 10 inches. This is kind of like a paper mesh. It's really nice to work with. It does your hands, but it really stands, it stands on its own. It's not too flimsy. And if you see the stripes in that, the white color, that's what color this white is. Not metallic, but it does have some clear iridescent stripes through it. I like to use my bow dabber to hold my ruffles when I'm doing more than one ruffle in each section. I started with the white, but I decided to do the white with the yellow and the black with the yellow, so there's a yellow in each section. At first I thought I was going to do double yellow and then black and white, but I changed my mind. And to ruffle it, I just lay it out flat and then gather it all together in my hand, kind of accordion folding it. And then you want to keep it as centered as possible when you're adding it to the bow dabber, as well as adding it into your pipe cleaners. And then you'll see I'll do the same thing with the yellow. And if it's helpful, you can always put something heavy at the end. I do that sometimes, especially when you get to the bottom of the roll, it gets really curly. I just love how all these colors work together. I know there's metallic in the black and white, but I just think it worked. It really stood out. And since I didn't use a lot of it, I just thought it looked really good. And the white was just kind of a filler because I wanted to have enough yellow for the next wreath. And the white's just underneath the yellow, so you never really see it. And then once I add it into the pipe cleaner, I'm twisting like 1.5 times. And then I'll just fan out my mesh to make it kind of overlap each other to make a perfect circle. And here I'll show you again how I do my ruffle. And you can always put something heavy. I usually grab whatever's near me. And then you just accordion fold it into your hand. And then you'll gather them together and add them in. And you don't have to use a bow dabber. You can use a clip, or you can just add each one into the pipe cleaner. This is just easier for me. I hate having to open and close the pipe cleaner. I tend to get really messy with mesh, and I'll end up pulling out pieces, and so the least amount of time I can touch it, the better. And I'll go around the whole entire outside and add mesh to each pipe cleaner, alternating the colors. And for the inside, it is a little bit different. When you're adding the mesh, it feels like you're just laying it on top, but after you have everything twisted, that's when you'll go through and fluff it. You want to fluff it on the left side, and then of course the last one you'll fluff on the right side. And you also want to fluff it against the outside layer, if that makes sense. Here you might be able to see how I kind of pull it apart. You just kind of want everything to show. You don't want anything pushed to the back. And you can mess around with your mesh as much as you want, but this is what it looks like when it's done. I know it kind of looks funny with the random black, but it all works out with the ribbon. So to cut my ribbon, I always like to use a piece of cardboard, or you can use anything that measures the length that you want to cut your ribbon at. 99% of the time I cut my ribbon at 12 inches, so I just use the same piece of cardboard when my daughter doesn't take it. And I'm just making sure it's being as tight as possible because I want them to all measure 12 inches. I don't wrap it more than 7 or 8 times just because it'll get too thick, and when you cut it, it won't come out to be 12 inches. And to cut it, you just slide the scissors in at either end and cut it away. And you end up with perfect pieces of ribbon. And you do have to, if your ribbon goes a certain way, you do have to turn it because one's going one way, one's going the other. And then I like to dovetail the ends of my ribbon. I usually do it up to 3 pieces at a time. You can do it depending on your scissors. I don't know why I can't say that word today. Scissors. And you want to cut from the crease, from the wired part to the crease at an angle. And you can decide how, severe you want your angle to be. It can be really shallow or really deep. I normally dovetail all of my ribbon, but this time I decided to do something different with the 1.5 inch ribbon, and I just did an angle cut. That was my first time doing that, and I kind of like the way it looks. Sometimes the dovetail on the end of the smaller ribbon looks funny. So to add my ribbon, I stack them together, and that's just my preference. I stack them all together the way I want to add them to the wreath. And then however many I'm adding, I will fold those in half to find the center. I usually crease it. I'll pinch at that crease, and then I'll add that into the pipe cleaner. And then I just like to use a glue stick or a pen to roll down the pipe cleaners. I just think it makes it look nice. And then to fluff my ribbon, I just create an X with the different designs. You don't have to do that. You can have, one on one side, one on the other. You can customize it any way you'd like. And here I'll show you again. You just take it and fold it in half, crease at the center, and then pinch it. When you are using smaller ribbon on top of the larger ribbon, you want to keep it as centered as possible, just because it makes it look nicer when you add it into the pipe cleaners. I mean, I guess it wouldn't really make a difference when you spread it out. It's just one of those things I always like to do. And you do want to make sure you get it as centered as possible. That's why you crease it. So where you put the crease is where you'll add it into the pipe cleaner. So the outside ones, not on all my wreaths, but on most of my wreaths, I do it a little bit different. Instead of creating an X, I create like a bow tie, or it kind of looks like a butterfly. And I'll show you after I finish this. It's where the top ones go straight across and the bottom ones come out. This is just so you don't get a lot of overlapping of the ribbon, because to me, the ribbon is, a lot of times the best part of the wreath. So here it is, straight across and out. And it can be expensive, so you don't want to cover it up. You want to be able to see it all. And that's what it looks like when it's done. And you can add whatever you'd like to these wreaths. You can get the, the little plastic bees or metal bees. I just have this really cute sign, and I'm going to use my staple gun and pipe cleaners to add it. I am keeping the burlap hanger or the jute hanger on the back. That's just because if later on whoever buys it wants to keep the sign, they can always just pop the sign off and they have a bee sign. And I usually do 2 staples. That's just, to me, it just feels like it holds better. And then I'll twist it a couple times. And you can always use hot glue, or I think they have wire mounts or tie mounts. I've never used those. I usually only use either E6000 and hot glue or a staple gun. To add it, I'm going to feed the pipe cleaners through the back and then wrap it around the wire frame, and I'll do that on either side. Here I'm just showing you, once I wrap it around to the back, I'll twist it and tuck it away. But that's it. That's how I made my cute as a bee wreath. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can always email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thanks so much for watching. And if y'all learned anything today, or if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.